I live in Germany, in a pretty small village. I think there are about 2,500 people living here. The next bigger cities are both about 15 kilometres away, although you can reach them by bus pretty good. Enough for the backstory. Me and my friend Andrew were usually hanging around in the village until morning dawn on weekends. We'd grab our guitars and sit in the parking lot of the small grocery store, or on the schoolyard of the middle school. Both are a few dozens of metres away from the next buildings, so we were able to jam there without pissing everybody off. One night we sat there, cracked some beers, and were in a pretty good mood, writing our songs, singing some covers. You know how it is. Teenagers right before their 20s. It was around 2 or 3 o'clock in the middle of the night when we noticed a silhouette walking towards us from the main street. Our eyes had adapted to the dark, and we were seeing a young man, not saying anything to us, but instead moving pretty fast. He was wearing all dark clothes, dark hoodie, and a dark backpack. I think he didn't see us, since the main street has bright streetlights and we were sitting in the dark, but he sure did hear us. Me and Andrew looked at each other, a bit confused. He seemed alerted. I was for sure. The guy stopped about 2 meters before reaching us and said, "Hey guys, mind if I sit with you for a while?" He seemed shady. My body told me to not trust this guy. It honestly told me to book it, run, but I didn't. Instead, he was engaging in our conversation, talking about music for a few minutes. He then said something strange. "Man, it feels good to talk to actual people again. Are you guys German?" I told him I was half Russian. Andrew is German. He told us he is from Arabia and moved to Germany with his parents. He proceeded to tell us about him. "You know, the police is after me. They want to put me in jail." I looked at Andrew and he looked at me. I was not sure if this guy was lying about that, but he had proof. Damn, he had some good proof for that. "Look," he said, opening his bag, pulling out a transparent bag out of it. It had weed in it, enough for a college party of 50 people, maybe more. We thought he would start to offer it. Instead, he pulled out another bag with some white, yellowish stuff left in it. Not much, maybe a few grams. "This was full once," he said. "I was supposed to sell it. Instead, I started taking it for myself. And now, people found out. The police. The guys I owe money to. I haven't talked to anyone for days. I am thirsty and high all the time. Look guys," he pulled out a gun. "Maybe I should end it right here. I have nowhere to go." I was shaking. On the inside, but I was afraid to show fear. I did not want to know what this guy was up to, what his drugged ass would be able to do to us. He looked at us, laughed, well, maybe more like an exhale through his nose, and packed his things away. "This would be wrong," he said. I can't really remember much from the point I saw the gun, but I remember him walking away again after wanting to shake hands with us. He thanked us for talking to him and walked off into the woods on a street next to the village about 3 kilometres away. We waited for him to walk a good distance and decided to get home as fast as we could without drawing any attention. He said something like, "You wouldn't rat me out, right?" So we tried to make it look like we stayed there. We were afraid he would follow us otherwise. All the way home, we checked behind us whether he was following us or not. He wasn't. We made it out of this hell. I did not report him to the police, and my friend didn't either. We were just too afraid. We told him our names out of fear, which was a stupid thing to do. We were afraid he could trace us back. Well, some strange foreign guy in my little hometown. Let's not meet again. Never. Please. In 2017, I got a laptop for Christmas. Definitely nice, but not what I needed it for. Couldn't run games for shit. I let it go till about May of 2018, until I had had enough and put it for sale on the Facebook marketplace. hoping to take the money and put it towards a new desktop. Of course, you'll get the occasional bot, and I did. But then I got a real person. A man who lived about 45 minutes away messaged and asked if it was still available. I answered in a heartbeat, and he asked the specs and when a good time to meet was. I informed him and said the next day at a local McDonald's at 1 PM. He agreed, and we went from there. He said he drove a grey van. Fucking weird, I know, but I just went with it. Maybe it was a hand-me-down car. To be quite honest, I just needed the money. I walked inside the McDonald's and the man flagged me down. It wasn't hard since I was carrying a laptop. We sat down at a table and I handed him the laptop. He began searching around, going on websites. "So, $200, right?" he asked as he stared at the screen. "Yes." By that time I was there for about 15 minutes and my patience was dying quickly. He informed me he was a school teacher at a school where he lives and that he needed the laptop for music. It was weird as it was 2018, so most people use Spotify or Apple Music, but I had no issue with that. But he then took a flash drive and plugged it in and started going through. I couldn't see what he was doing though, as I was on the other side of the table. Then he looks at me and goes, "So what do you want me to do?" And I just said it was up to him. He closed the laptop and said, "Yeah, I don't think that's what I'm looking for," and walked out the door. It was weird to say the least, but I grabbed some lunch from McDonald's and proceeded home. Curiosity filled me, so I decided to go on the school website where he said he teaches and search his name. Nothing. Not a lick of his name. Things were starting to get weirder by the second. What the hell was on that flash drive? Soon after, I cleaned my laptop with an antivirus, and it informed me he had found a tracking file. This fucker put a tracking file on my laptop. I cleaned my laptop and was extra cautious in the next few days. Paranoia filled me. Why the hell would he put a tracking file on my laptop? I called ADT and scheduled a setup in the next morning for a security system. That night, I slept with a handgun on my nightstand and all of the doors locked. Call me paranoid, but the man was downright creepy and I didn't know what he was capable of. It's been 6 months since, but it still keeps me up at night. I've been getting asked a lot why I didn't call the police, and to be quite honest, and as stupid as it sounds, I didn't think there was anything they could do. So, creepy computer dude, let's not meet. Last year, my mum and I went to the local park for a run one evening after work. It's frequented by runners and cyclists and dog walkers, but it was a chilly evening so there weren't many people around. It started to get dark by the time we were heading back to my car, which was parked in one of the bottom car parks. So we stopped running and walked back just chatting. The park doesn't have street lights for some reason, so when it started getting dark, I pulled out my phone's torch to see properly. When we reached the car park where my car was, there were two vehicles. One was mine, and the other was a large red van with its high beams on and its engine running, parked right beside my car. When we reached the car park where my car was, there were two vehicles. One was mine, and one was a large red van with its high beams on and its engine running, parked right beside my car. Before we entered the car park, I immediately pulled out my keys and switched off my torch and told my mum to get straight in the car because my mum has no sense of urgency or danger. She went straight to anger that he was parked so close with his high beams on. She isn't really the sort of person who would realise it was sketchy. It wasn't till later that she even understood why it freaked me out. Bless her, but my mum is very naive. I, on the other hand, had red flags and neon lights going off in my head. I can't see the driver or the licence plate, and the car park is otherwise empty, and this van wasn't there when I pulled up. So why park so close to my car unless he was hoping for a lone jogger? As we get into the car park, both my mum and I are illuminated. I realise the van is of course parked beside the driver's door, and there is no way in hell am I going anywhere near that van, So I start typing out 999 on my phone and silently panicking about whether it would be safer to stand in the car park or attempt to get in my car. Before the line even connects, the van suddenly takes off and exits the car park, then speeds off down the park road and out of sight. I hung up the phone and we jumped straight in the car. When we got home, I called the non-emergency police line and explained what had happened. I knew there was nothing they could do. I didn't see the license plate, the make of the van, or the driver. They said they'd send someone to make sure there wasn't any vans hanging around. I go back to the park all the time, but I go in the daytime now. Harder to find parking, but at least it's safer. It's a shame because I loved my evening runs there. I always wonder if it was the fact 2 of us turned up for the car, or because I had my phone out that the van decided to bail. I'm glad I will never know.